There is a persistent fear right now that software is about to swallow the voice acting industry whole. The assumption is that you press a button and a machine generates a flawless, broadcast-ready performance instantly. But if you look behind the curtain at leading voice generation companies, the reality looks quite different. The engineers building these systems don't see a magic pill. They see the limitations of their own code. The core problem starts with how we label this technology. If a program doesn't teach itself, it isn't actually an intelligence. What we are dealing with are synthetic voices. These are static, rigid models that require extensive teaching and input from a human operator on the other end to elicit any kind of specific performance. Because these models lack true autonomous thought, the idea of zero-effort overnight replacement is a myth. The machine cannot direct itself. This chart shows the public assumption, a frictionless process straight from text to perfect audio. But in practice, that direct line shatters. Human engineers must manually adjust pacing, pitch, and inflection across dozens of complex editing nodes. They are constantly fighting against the uncanny valley, that subtle, almost indescribable feeling a listener gets when they instinctively know something isn't quite human, even if they can't point out exactly why. Pushing a synthetic voice out of that valley is grueling. Getting a remotely realistic performance out of just a few simple sentences can take an engineer hours of manual manipulation inside the engine. And even after all that heavy lifting, the final output often retains a stiff, robotic quality that fails to sound entirely natural. The hidden cost of synthetic audio is massive human labor. Complete automation is an illusion. This creates a severe economic problem for the companies using the software. Time is money, and paying an engineer to meticulously tweak audio for hours quickly eats away any perceived financial savings. High-quality clients realize it is cheaper and faster to hire a professional human actor. A professional can respond to live emotional direction instantly, getting the exact take right in minutes instead of hours. We saw this exact dynamic in the late 1990s when digital sample libraries simulated live musicians. Those libraries replaced low-budget, bottom-tier orchestra work, but they never replaced high-end live professionals because human musicians still deliver a vastly superior sound. But synthetic voices introduce another massive liability that has nothing to do with budgets: institutional security. If a synthetic engine can perfectly mimic a person's voice, it can be made to say anything. For clients dealing with national security or sensitive corporate data, a modeled voice is a direct operational vulnerability. If your voice can be hijacked, you become a security risk. Because of this, premium clients are actively cutting synthetic talent from their rosters. The technology is simply too economically inefficient and inherently insecure to trust with valuable intellectual property. The real existential threat to voice acting has shifted from software limitations to the predatory nature of contract law. To train and refine these synthetic models, tech companies require massive, continuous data sets of high-quality human voice recordings. To get that data without paying for it, companies are burying simulated likeness clauses deep inside standard employment contracts. They rely on the fact that actors rarely read their paperwork thoroughly. When you sign without reading, you legally sign away the rights to your own voice. The defense against this is proactive paperwork. Voice actors have to add explicit riders to their contracts, clearly stating they do not grant permission for their voice to be simulated or aggregated. Industry organizations like NAVA and SAG-AFTRA are working right now to establish structural protections and standard legal language to prevent this kind of likeness theft. The future of the profession belongs to artists who act as sharp business owners, legally securing their human performance as a premium, irreplaceable asset.